Welcome back to another exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. I'm your host, Gary Malevsky, and the publisher of Cyber Defense Magazine. I have a very special guest, John Randall, sitting in the hot seat from EdgeWave, one of my favorite cybersecurity companies, and I'll tell you why. They deal with the two things we're always doing every day, email and the web, and it needs to be secured because we have a lot of issues with phishing and other things that John is going to tell us about as the Vice President of Product Management of EdgeWave. John, welcome.
Thank you, Gary.
So EdgeWave has been in this space for a while. You're kind of ahead of the curve on dealing with the problems that hit us every day. Phishing attacks, it's changing, it's evolving into deep sea phishing. Can you tell us what you're seeing and how you're getting ahead of the cyber criminals and how you get deployed to help your customers?
Yeah, so the first answer is what are we seeing? And it changes on a daily basis, which is the problem that we face in the cybersecurity world today, is that as soon as you block one thing, then the criminals have adapted and they moved forward again. And the tagline I've used for many years is they only have to be right once. You as a security professional have to be right every single time. So when I talk to our threat detection analysts, I'm looking for the latest trends, the latest campaigns, and it is always something different. From over the holidays, where you saw the holiday-themed ones taking advantage of Amazon or
tax seasons around the corner.
Tax seasons around the season, every holiday, World Cup last year. So they're taking advantage of all of that. So they're constantly adjusting. And so your defenses need to adjust as quickly. But that becomes a challenge, is how do they? So we see everything from campaigns that have attachments, as you talked about, we've seen for years, that have URLs that we're happily clicking along. But then we see campaigns which have none of that. We have campaigns which are 10 words of plain text. And we're asking our traditional gateways to defend against what is effectively the very tip of the spear, that ultimately 3 or 4 communications back and forth, then you get hooked.
Really?
Absolutely.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, we've seen emails come through where the text is nothing more than, "Are you in the office?"
Wow.
Purporting to be from the CEO. The display name looks like the CEO.
So it's a setup.
It is absolutely a setup, but it's not the initial port. I mean, it's the initial connection, but it's not the initial attack. It takes 3 or 4 communications. And so our threat detection team has actually done that. They played along. And 3 or 4 layers deep, then we get the, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. Can you go buy some gift cards for me?" Wow. And then a couple more later, "Hey, can you scratch off the back and send me the codes because I can't get to the physical cards?"
Wow.
But it all started with "Are you in the office?"
Are you in the office? So this is a multi-pronged approach where one single email is not the issue anymore.
We see that on a regular basis, which is very, very scary. So I've spent 20 years in this industry, and all of that I've been connected with email servers and email security. I've implemented all of the major email security solutions out there, and I've seen how they work. And they're very good at what they were designed to do, but they were not designed for this type of attack, which is why they get past them and end up in the inbox for you and I to happily click along or respond, "Yes, I'm in the office. What can I do for you?" Then you're in trouble.
Do you think they're going after the phone system too, or they're going after, like after this attack, maybe they'll make a phone call and see if you're really there and hang up or something?
We have seen campaigns that do that, and we have heard from some of our customers that has happened, where they are using multiple attack vectors.
Social engineering, it's like Kevin Mitnick in a box.
Very much so.
So they're getting smarter, they're getting more invasive, and you're keeping up with them by constantly analyzing many clients' email environments to help defend. Like you're not the honeypot of email just on your own network for test purposes. Your clients' data, not their private information, but the inbound bad stuff is something that you might leverage, in an anonymous way to improve your service.
Absolutely. We have both a traditional gateway, which is where EdgeWave got our start in email security. But what we've done is we've leveraged that knowledge and experience to create our inbox detection solution. So as organizations moved Office 365 and as they moved to Google G Suite, to take advantage of the mail server being hosted, both of those organizations have provided capabilities that allow us to have access to the message once it reaches your inbox. So the gateway is now out of the picture, but this potentially malicious is in your mailbox. So what do we do about it? And so that's where we've added into our portfolio that ability to have that access to review the message and be able to tell you that email that says, "Are you in the office?" We've played the game so we can protect you, but then that intelligence can also go back to all of our other customers so that when we see it elsewhere, it's, this is not new for us as EdgeWave because we've seen it from somebody else. Let's protect you in your organization.
That's great. So the cyber criminals also attack us on the web, or they infect web servers. They have drive-by malware. Do you have any solutions for the web environment or web servers or our web experience?
We do have a web filter, but we're actually seeing that a lot of what we're catching for the web, we're catching it because it's coming through email. So the messages will have a link in them.
Because email is usually rich HTML. Nobody turns off their HTML email.
They don't, which is why it's surprising when you see a message come through that is plain text, because almost every email client is going to start with rich HTML, and then the replies and the forwards are going to do that.
And I wouldn't think an attacker would use plain text.
But that's how you get past the gateways.
And that's the tip of the spear. And you guys discovered that. I haven't heard that from any vendor so far. So every day there's these problems with attacks. You're getting the intel. Is this a cloud-based solution? Is this on-prem? How are you getting your customers, anti-phishing up to the next level each day? Is it a lot of updates? How does that work?
It is 100% cloud-based, which is very, very advantageous because an implementation with either Office 365 or G Suite can be extremely speedy and quick. We tell customers we can have you up and running in 15 to 30 minutes because it is all cloud-based. But we're taking advantage of what, for example, Microsoft has made available to us. They've given us APIs directly into the Exchange store that we didn't have even a couple years ago. So that's what allows us to be, one, quick with our implementation, but two, provide this level of functionality where we can get the messages, and if they're suspicious, if they're submitted to us, we can remove them from the inbox. So you can't accidentally click on something because you're not sure what's going. It's gone until we classify it. And then once we classify it, we notify them and say, this is a malicious message. It's not coming back. It's staying in quarantine. Or this was safe, and we put it back where we found it.
So it's not really a false positive. You may hold up a message that really looks risky, and the user doesn't know until they get the message. And you know what? Their inboxes are clogged anyway.
100%.
So they're trying to be productive. They're getting lots of emails. They don't even have time to figure out what's good or bad, and you're doing it for them.
Correct. We have a brand new customer that just came online that every message that get past their gateway, they've annotated it and said at the very bottom, submit this to EdgeWave before you open it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that they're taking advantage of the service.
That's great. So anything else you want to share with our viewers and our listeners?
Just be careful. I mean, the age-old rules still apply, and as much as the industry would like us to believe that training will fix all of the evils that we're dealing with, the reality is that's not the case.
Give them a month and they forget what they were trained.
Even less. I mean, there's something called the forgetting curve out there that says within 7 days we're down to bottom again. So I go back to my days as director of IT. Just be careful. I mean, always be cautious, but take advantage of new technologies. Be on the lookout for what's out there. The number one thing when we hear from customers, they didn't know this type of thing existed.
Yeah, I mean, I just learned something new in our interview about just text-only attacks. Tip of the spear.
Very much so.
Great interview, the hot seat, we made it through, and we're going to get our viewers to visit edgewave.com.
Perfect.
Anything else you want them to do? White paper, data sheet, demo, what should they see when they
we have a 1-minute video on our website that talks through our inbox detection. And then from there, we can do a demo. And it's a very, very basic product and functionality and very easy to demo. So in a lot of cases, demos can be these hour-long. We can do a very good demo within 15 or 20 minutes. So it's not like we're asking for a long commitment. Take a look at the 1-minute video and then give us a call.
Okay, you've got 1 minute more past the end of this video to spend at edgewave.com. Check out the 1-minute video. Where do most attacks happen? Through email. What do we do every day? We are in our inbox. We're doing email. And we need to secure email properly. And these guys know how to do it for you. Check them out, edgewave.com. And then we will see you next time on another exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. Thank you.